Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
I named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints.
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my man who loves to sit in his car for long periods of time. It's Frank. How are you today?
Fun, 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 until Daddy took the T-Bird away.
Fun,
I don't drive a T-Bird.
Until Daddy took the T-Bird away. I knew somebody that actually drove a T-Bird, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it was nice. It was.
That's cool.
It was like a plum purple.
Was it like like vintage T-Bird or like the new T-Bird?
Vintage T-Bird, like when the Beach Boys were singing about it.
Yeah,
T-Bird.
man. That's the stuff.
Yeah, there's actually a house near me that has a T-Bird in roughly the same era.
Nice.
It's funny because I just saw it yesterday, and I was like, and it made me think of my friend's car.
Nice.
And I was like, oh man, I haven't thought about that in a long time.
That's really cool.
And here you are singing about T-Birds. Wonderful.
Fantastic.
Truly, truly wonderful. Frank, tell me what you're drinking this fine day.
I'm drinking a craft lager from the good fine folk at Night Shift Brewing in Everett, Massachusetts. This is their Night Lite. Now I'm going to crack it open.
Crack, crack, crack.
Crack, crack, crack.
Jack.
It is it's a light lager.
Jack.
It is a light lager, sort of in the, it's, let's say it's sort of in the tradition of like a Bud Light style of brewing. It is their light beer that they make at Night Shift, and it is, I think it's like it's my favorite light beer. So it's it's great. It's crisp. It's light. It is drinkable, sessionable, sippable, crushable. And I like it. I like it a lot. So I got a bunch of these in my fridge right now, and I'm enjoying chipping away at these.
Good.
Night Shift, Night Light.
I'm glad for you. I'm glad. So glad. I'm just glad.
Thank you. Glad all over.
Glad. I wonder if she's glad. Goodness gracious me. I am drinking something from the Mayflower Brewing Company.
Yes.
So also Massachusetts. It's called Resistance is Fruitile. And it is a sour ale brewed with blueberry and lemon.
Ooh.
And it is deliciously delectable. I do recommend. If you don't like sours, you're not going to like it. Because sours are not super refreshing.
Yeah, they're not my favorite. Is it like very tart?
It is. I think it's a little bit more sweet than tart, like a sweet tart. You know where I'm going with
I
that.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think yes. I think if you like sours, you should drink it. If you don't like sours, why would you get a sour to drink in the first place?
That's a you problem.
That's it. That's a you problem,
Yeah.
not a me problem. Mm-mm. Exactly. So, so Mayflower do recommend.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know how widespread their beer is. Their distribution is. I think it's pretty far.
That's it. Pretty far, I think. Yeah, because I think I had it before I lived in Massachusetts. I'm pretty confident that I had. Clearly, it goes as far as Rhode Island.
Yes.
But
although I actually, I think
did you get it in Massachusetts?
I got it in Mass. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know, but yeah, it's at least got distribution in the Northeast, New England at the very least. But I think it has some distribution beyond as well. And I'm not sure about Night Shift either. Come to think of it, I think Night Shift might be pretty local still, but they're one of the biggest in this area.
Yes.
And certainly one of the fastest growing.
I think I can get Night Shift.
I would imagine you can there.
I don't know. I've never tried. I've never gone to look for. I've never gone to look for it, but I should.
They've got some really. Oh man, I don't have it anymore, but I'll give it a shout out. They have a new one called All the Peels, which is it's like an orange and coriander white. It's basically like their take on like a Blue Moon.
Okay.
Style, really really good.
Coriander doesn't always work for me.
Oh, do you like Blue Moon?
I do like Blue Moon. Yes,
you would like this
do.
then. It's like a craft version of Blue Moon.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I do like that. Does sound like I would like it. Mm-hmm. I'm good for that.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
So good for it.
So there's this. Everything that's old is new again, and as we try to
not these gym socks I'm wearing.
Hey, don't tell me about
1989.
that. Hey, yeah, okay, those are as old as me. As we try to. Remain socially distant, but get out of the house so we don't go crazy. We're finding old new ways to entertain ourselves, right?
That is correct.
And there's been a resurgence in drive-in movies.
Yes, hugely. As in, like, they're putting more up in places.
Yep.
Like, these places that had never done drive-in movies before or anything like that are like, oh, well, we can get a screen and show a movie. It's actually not expensive.
Yeah. All you need is the parking
pure
space.
Profit apart from getting the movie.
Right. Yeah, you need the parking space and that's about it. You got to put up some
you got to buy some food for people to buy the food.
Concessions, restrooms. Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty, pretty minimal infrastructure you got to put in place. So they're catching on. I mean, there are existing drive-in movie theaters that that already exist and you can visit, and they're booming right now. But people are putting up new ones. I know both of us have gone to see different movies at drive-ins, and for both of us, it was our first drive-in movie experience.
It was your first drive-in movie experience. I didn't realize that this time going was also your first one. Oh, yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, I remember growing up in New York that there was a drive-in theater in my general area. I remember driving past it and driving past it at night and seeing the screens, with being lit up with movies. And as a kid being fascinated by that and being like, wow, that's such a cool idea, like watching a movie outside. But we never went, and then it shut down and they paved it over and built a regular indoor theater on that lot. So I never got a chance to go. There was never another one near me that I could go to. So yeah, it wasn't until now that I was able to go. There's a place near here that put up a drive-in theater. They're doing it like once a week or so at a local college and like a parking lot at the local college. Mm-hmm. So we went and we saw The Sandlot. And
wow, what a great drive-in movie!
Good fun. But what was your experience like?
I also there wasn't one near us growing up. There used to be in the town over, but it closed before I was born or when I was really really little. Because you could drive by the sign. I think you could still drive by the sign, for insert town drive-in theater. And
it's a weird name for a town.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's like urine.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Anyway, but I had always wanted to go because I love that 50s, 60s, fun car
American graffiti
style. I just think it's fun. It's funny with modern cars. It feels more like tailgating is what I actually felt like. It felt like more I was like waiting for the big game than I was waiting for a movie to start. But my wife and I went for my birthday because socially distancing things. But what do you do? And I had expressed interest in going to the drive-in because I had never been, and she had only been once, I think, ever. So it was fun, and we saw The Goonies.
Nice,
which is a film I had never seen in its entirety before. From start to finish. And so I was like, what a great drive-in movie because it's it's a classic like The Sandlot. It's not long, so you don't feel like you're sitting in your car for hours and hours and hours and hours. And the movie on after it, because the drive-ins always do double features, or a lot of places do. The one after it was Back to the Future. I had really wished that Back to the Future was the movie that I had watched, just because it does take place in the era of drive-ins.
That's true.
The
50s.
height of drive-ins, and I love Back to the Future. And sometimes movies are long when you don't know what's coming, like they feel longer. And it was like 90 degrees out, and there was no breeze, so it got really. And we didn't bring bug spray. So like mosquitoes were starting to come in. So I enjoyed my drive-in experience, but I also learned several things about my drive-in experience. Like I learned, bring some chairs, sit outside next to the car. Bring a little fan, bring some bug sprays, bring a radio so I don't have to do my car radio the whole time.
Yeah.
Because I got nervous for my car battery after a while, but it was fun, and I enjoyed the Goonies. It was loud. Like they scream all the time in that movie.
But they never say die.
No, they never say die. But the Goonies are at like a 10 all the time. They yell about everything. And it was funny that you saw The Sandlot, because I turned to my wife in the middle of the movie and I was like, they don't yell this much in The Sandlot. Like when they're like upset about stuff, they do scream and stuff, but the way the sound is mixed and edited, it just feels a little bit calmer. It doesn't like go through like up your spine into your brain to make your brain explode kind of sound. But I thought the Goonies was good fun. Like it was like, it's just a fun adventure film, and I would have been all about some of the stuff when I was a kid, like like hit the button for like the bowling ball to open the gate and like stuff like that. That to me is cool, and just the idea of like going on an adventure like in your hometown and finding a pirate ship, and like stuff that people could have solved, and like the kid who plays I can't remember his name in the film. The kid with the gadgets.
Samwise. That's his name in the film.
No, it is not.
Yeah,
Samwise.
no, I'm pretty sure it is.
No, it's not.
No,
you're
I think it is.
No, it's not.
No, I think so.
It's the kid who plays Short Round.
That's racist.
No, but it is the kid who plays Short Round.
I know.
But it is.
I don't know his name.
I don't either. I can't remember his name in the movie, but he has like like the boxing glove thing, and like the chattering teeth that's actually a grappling hook, and like all that stuff. I'm like,
really cool
that
gadgets.
Yeah. As a kid, even as an adult, I'm like, I want all of those things now. Even though now, like as an adult, you're like, obviously that wouldn't support your weight.
Sure.
But is that really wasn't as like important in that movie?
Right. No, it's far from the most important thing.
No, it's not. So no. I really enjoyed.
Nice.
I really enjoyed the film. I can see why it is. I can see why it's a favorite.
Yeah,
among people.
I feel like the time that it came out and everything, it was like a really good time for those sorts of movies for kids of a certain age, who dreamed of going on those kinds of adventures with their friends, and it just like sort of captured the imagination of kids of that era, and since then, frankly. But yeah, and what a good one to see at a drive-in. You mentioned the lessons you learned that things you know to do for the future drive-ins. We weren't allowed to sit outside of our car.
Oh, okay.
At this particular one for social distancing reasons.
Mm-hmm. They had cut off a space for people. So, like, instead of a car being right next to you, they would had an open space for you to sit. So, like, you had to be to the left. Like, you had to sit in front of the car, and there was this much space, and so like we would have been far away from people if we did sit outside.
That's good. Yeah, they put a little bit of space between cars, but they did tell us like you're not allowed to sit outside the car. Which was too bad because I would have liked to have done that, but that's okay. I did bring a radio It was actually kind of funny because like I keep a radio, little battery operated radio in the house, just like in case the power goes out, right? So like I can listen to like the weather report and find out when the power's coming back, that kind of thing. I don't know. Is it really as useful today in 2020 as it was in the 90s when I was growing up and my parents did the same thing? No, because we have other ways of doing that now. But I'm just trained to keep a radio
be prepared,
for emergencies, right? So
I've seen enough post-apocalyptic things to know that I should have a radio.
It's not the worst idea. No. So I keep a radio, but I learned a valuable lesson that day because a couple hours before we were going to head off to the movie, I put some batteries in the radio and it doesn't turn on. And I'm like, oh no. So my emergency radio wouldn't even work in an emergency. But I phoned the local CVS and I was like, do you have battery powered radios? And they're like, we have one. And I was like, I will be there in minutes. So I just drove on over, bought the radio, and some batteries to go with it, and we had a radio in the car for that. So we didn't, because I have exactly that kind of anxiety where I know that the entire movie I would not be enjoying myself because I'd be like, is the car battery going to die? Is the car battery going to die? Should I turn the engine on? Oh, but there's something to turn the engine on. Oh, but I need to make sure the car battery doesn't die. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I just wouldn't be watching the movie. I'd just be freaking out about my car battery dying and not actually enjoying the movie.
That's basically what that's basically what I was like. We would turn it off for like action sequences when they were just like running around and shouting and stuff because you could hear it from other people's radios and whatever
That's smart.
else.
That's a good way to save. That's good. I don't know if I would have thought of that. That's very smart. But yeah, so I did have a little portable radio that I was able to use for that because my anxiety flared up preemptively. So that's good. I'm good to know we have the same neuroses. Yeah. So
Ask me if I'm surprised about that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But so yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think Sandlot is sort of in a similar vein as Goonies in that it's like another like ensemble cast group of kids type of movie that like where sort of your friend group could watch this movie and like each character is an avatar for one of your friends.
Yes, I think that's true. Here's unpopular opinion about The Sandlot. I think it loses steam after the 4th of July.
I agree with you, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I'd seen it before, Marissa had not, and
oh, really?
Yeah, and so watching it through her eyes, I was sort of like, yeah, this part's not as good. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about when you see a movie, you've seen it a million times, but you watch it through the eyes of the person who's seeing it for the first time, who you're showing it to, essentially. And especially if you know that person, you know how they're reacting without them having to say anything. And so I'm sort of like, oh, yeah, this is not, looking at it again as an adult, this part is...
Yeah, I think it works so well right up into the end of the 4th of July, and then it really like it it's almost like the 7th inning stretch. And then it picks up again once they start like having to get the ball back from over the fence, and they're like constructing, the vacuum cleaner and the erector set, and like bungee jump thing, which I never connected before watching, because Mary and I just watched it a couple days ago. Like, I never connected that Yaya invents bungee jumping because because that's basically what he does to get the ball back.
Oh my god, I didn't think about that. That's great. Yeah.
No, it's so good.
Oh
it's
my god.
Great. Yeah.
So weird. And then James Earl Jones's character from Field of Dreams shows up. It's great.
He does show up, his Field of Dreams character, which is so weird, though, because when in the flashback sequence, they use his name, but it's this fat white guy, and then James Earl Jones shows up at the end, and you're like, are you supposed to be the same person?
I think it's because that's who they imagined him looking like.
They're not imagining blind James Earl Jones
Correct.
Next door. They're
Correct.
just imagining this is what a guy owning a junkyard would look like.
Correct. And in 1960 America, or whatever year that's supposed to be.
Sandlot takes place in 62.
62. The year that Roger Maris hit the home run record. And they
nice baseball info, Frank.
Yankees
nice.
Trivia. It's still back there in the back of my head somewhere. But yeah, that's in 1962 Middle America, that probably they would have just assumed he was a white guy.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's what is hilarious to me, which this was circling the internet a while ago, but that so Smalls goes to steal the Babe Ruth ball from the house, but there's another baseball in the house.
There sure is. They played catch with it.
He plays catch with his stepdad. Right.
Yep.
And yep. So like, did you think that there was no other ball in the house, or that's the one you were playing with, or you had or like you actually did get a concussion from being hit in the head with the thing? Although when he slaps the steak on the kid's eye, I was like, ew, the germs. Like, I know that was what people did, but ew. Like,
I know.
Pre-ice packs.
I watched an episode of The Office like last week, shortly after seeing the movie, where Dwight puts a frozen chicken breast on Michael's face when he gets hit in the face, and it doesn't wrap it in plastic or newspaper or anything, just a raw frozen chicken breast right on his face. And then they get into an argument, and Dwight pulls it away, and he's like, "And you know what? This is my dinner on your face. I'm taking this." Anyway, maybe think of that.
Salmonella in his eye.
He doesn't have a left eye. He has an E. coli.
E. coli. Yeah. The Sandlot has been on my brain because it's the summer, and I feel like you got to watch it before July ends.
Sure.
To fulfill part of the summer. I just love that film. But of course, then Babe Ruth is on my brain always because of that film.
The Sultan of SWAT.
Yeah, the Sultan of SWAT. The Sultan of SWAT. It's Timmy and Tommy just repeating each other. Bertram got really into the 60s, and we never saw him again. It's so funny. But there's a biography of Babe Ruth.
Yes.
By Jane Levy. That is that I've been kind of hankering to read because of just watching The Sandlot. And I'm like, I like baseball, but not like to read a biography of a player.
Sure.
But I there's something about Babe Ruth, I think, that is just like, why? Why do we know? Why does everybody know Babe Ruth?
He is the lasting legacy of that, like that early era of Major League Baseball.
Yeah. No, there's something about Babe Ruth, and I just like I want to know, so I want to read the biography.
He was a very interesting character, for sure. I read a book about him many years ago. I couldn't tell you who it was by, or it was when I was a kid, and it's just called Babe Ruth. So good luck finding it. Mm-hmm. But I read about him, and he was an interesting fellow. I bet that's a really good. I bet that'd be a really good biography. I'm putting a link to the Jane Levy biography you mentioned into the show notes.
Oh, very good.
The big fella, Babe Ruth and the world he created.
Ooh, thank you. If you, I think that's really the only baseball. I think I have. This is the only baseball thing that I really have. I do have the very famous picture of Ted Williams on my wall. It was my grandfather's. And so, like the game, he was at the game, like where he's hit the home run and he's just kind of almost letting go with a bat. Beautiful photo.
I'm also going to put that photo in show notes.
Thanks. I feel so, this is strange. I feel so American having that photo, if that makes sense.
It's a very quintessential American thing.
Yeah. I almost feel like, because if you look around the rest of my office, like I've got dinosaur toys over there and Star Wars novels over there. I just rearranged my bookshelves to put all of my Stephen King instead of in order of cover style. I put them in chronological order because I'm going through and reading his entire bibliography.
Very nice.
In order. I am on Cycle of the Werewolf, if anybody cares to know where I am. No, actually, I lied. I have to do The Running Man by Richard Bachman, which is Stephen King's writing alias, or was his writing alias, and then I am on to Cycle of the Werewolf because I opted afterwards to go back and do the Richard Bachman books at the same time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, well, I read the first Richard Bachman book, which was The Long Walk, which it was fine. I didn't really care for it, and I'm like, if they're all like this, like, do I really want to add the like books that I'm like, do I want to? Because he writes about like when writing as Richard Bachman, and he's like Stephen King understands that good should triumph at the end, mostly. Like good should prevail. So even though terrible things happen, good should creep through at the end, and Richard Bachman does not understand that.
I see.
And so it's always like they're always going to be slightly Debbie Downers, and I don't know how much do I want to put myself through the Debbie Downerness. So, but you know what? He wrote them, so I'm going to, know, because that's, I like to see an artist's craft change over time.
Did you say that you were arranging them by cover?
I did originally arrange them by cover style, so because different publishing companies have different rights to different books, and so they have different editions,
right?
And so there's like the big squiggly bright colors and the bright lettering, and then there's this other style and this one. So I arranged them by like the style of book that I have.
Sure. So all the Barnes and Noble hardcover editions all in one spot, and then all the Penguin soft covers in another spot, and all the
Sure.
like that.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so by style. But that was actually difficult then to keep track of them. Like, which ones do I have? Which ones don't I have? Because I have almost 2 full shelves worth of them. I have I would say close to 30 of his books already. And so it's hard to keep apart from the Dark Tower series. It's very hard to keep track of do I have Lisley's story? Do I have The Green Mile? Do I have Dolores Claiborne? I can't remember. So now it's easier to be like, okay, I did this one. Now I know what the next one is, and you go and you pull it, and it's easier to catalog the margin progression. So
interesting.
So yeah, man. So that's that.
It would never occur to me to arrange them by that. I have 2 things that I obsess over, and that is alphabetical order, usually by author, or really more than the style, it's the size. Because I hate seeing a really tall book and then a short one and then a tall and then a short.
So much, yeah.
But at the same time, it's all right, do I want to arrange them on my shelf for ease of finding them? So if I arrange them alphabetically by author's last name, I know that Mark Twain is over here. I know that Stephen King is over here. I know what Kevin J. Anderson's going to be at the beginning. I know what I'm looking for. But then I hate when the sizes are it's not aesthetically pleasing to see these books of different sizes all next to each other. And so then I'm do I arrange them by size, and then sort of within each size do it alphabetically by author? What do I?
No,
it's messy real fast.
I'm completely with you. I am fortunate that I tend to know what style of book I like holding the most. So whether you like mass market paperbacks, which is the smallest, or hardcovers, or trade paperback, which is the medium sized. I like trade paperbacks the most. I don't like hardcover. The book becomes too heavy to hold after a while.
I'm with you.
Yeah. And so I like trade paperbacks. I do like mass markets because they're easy to transport, and they're like clothes and beachwear.
Yes,
easy to go around.
They fit in any bag. Yeah.
It's super simple, and I'm I can't remember who said it. G.K. Chesterton.
Okay.
G.K.
Chesterton is a person.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to remember who. I think it might have
J.K.
been
Rowling.
him, I can't remember, but no, it definitely wasn't J.K. but as I said, never trust anybody who doesn't bring a book with them. And I'm like,
it could be G.K. Chesterton. It kind of sounds like his.
It sounds like
wit.
something that he would say, and I can't remember but I find mass markets the most transportable. They're so easy.
Yeah,
they fit
totally.
anywhere. But I like the way trades look on the shelf, and so most of my Stephen Kings are trade, apart from a few that I had from the school yard sale when I was a kid. You know, like I have a copy of this, like an original copy of The Stand, well, the re-release of The Stand that's been like read like a gazillion times before I even got my hands on it. And I like that too. I like well-read books.
Are you obsessive about like not cracking the spine? Do you care if it cracks the spine? Do you like it the more well-worn the better? Like what's your
I
am
philosophy? Obsessive about not cracking the spine.
Yeah, okay, me
to
too.
like not open it the whole way to to flesh it out.
Which is so hard to do though, right? Because like to read it and hold it comfortably, at least for me, hold it comfortably, I kind of need to crack it, but I try so hard to like open it as far as I can without cracking it.
Yeah,
so that it'll still look nice on the shelf. But like
yeah, I open as far as I can to not crack it. And I find that's actually easier with the trade paperbacks than it is with mass markets.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mass markets are like meant to be cracked.
Yes, they are. Yeah,
and that's why they sell them at the
meant to be
grocery
cracked.
store, because it's like they're not super nice editions. Like they're meant to be read and used, and if the cover gets dog-eared because you threw it in your bag too
that's right.
carelessly or whatever, like so be it.
Yeah, it's funny that like a mass market, I don't care if it looks weather worn because it looks like a mass market's loved because it's not really meant to last a long time.
Right.
But anything above that, I start to go like, ugh,
yeah,
it needs to still look good. Because like I can't remember. There's a stand-up comedian that has a joke about it. I can't remember who it is. It might be John Mulaney, but like how like books are like prizes on a shelf.
Huh.
You're like, look, I've read these.
I feel like it is Mulaney. Yeah.
Yeah.
So look how smart I am.
Look how smart I am. I have all these books, and I am totally that person. Look, I have books, but I think they're almost like cheap colors. They're like cheap decorative colors. So they're fun. But anyway, this was a little bit of a a drive-in ramble.
It was.
Yeah, but Frank, tell us where the people can find us.
Well, you can find us at beerwithgeeks.com. That's the official website of this podcast. We are part of the Thought Bubble Audio Network. We're actually the flagship show of the Thought Bubble Audio Network. And you can find this show and all of the Thought Bubble Audio Network shows at thoughtbubbleaudio.com. You can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Overcast, anywhere you can find podcasts. You'll find this one. We would love a rating or a review. If you've got the time to write out a rating, great. If you just want to tap 5 stars and leave us just a simple star rating, that's great too. And you can support us by leaving that rating review. You can support us by subscribing or by telling a friend. Or if you've got $1 a month to spare, you can hit us up at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio, and that is how you support the network. It helps us cover our costs to bring these shows to you, as well as you will get in return things like early episodes of Beer with Geeks in advance before everyone else hears them, fun stuff like that. So consider that. Tell a friend. Whatever you can do, we appreciate it. You can also find us at beerwithgeeks@gmail.com and at beerwithgeeks on Twitter. And that is it for our drive-in ramblings. I'm at Frank Ramblings on Twitter.
Oh my God, I'm at Timothy PG13.
Right on.
Indeed. Right on. And so, Frank, until next time, cheers.
Cheers.